What is going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you guys how to make $200 a day on average by investing your money in the stock market in 2020. Before I get too into this, I do want to let you guys know that this is not going to be a get rich quick, and you do have to have some money in order to do this. I would say about $10, $15, maybe even $20,000. Now there's going to be a couple steps on how I do this and how you can do this, and we're going to get right into those steps right now. Step number one, and this is definitely going to be the most important step, you have to have a long-term portfolio. Because if you don't start a long-term portfolio now and the market goes up 30% within the next 2 years, you're going to miss out on all those gains. However, I know there's going to be some people saying, but wait, what if the stock market crashes 30% within the next 2 years? And how I would respond to that would be, if you have, let's say, $20,000, don't put all your $20,000 in the market at one point. That is extremely risky. You're basically asking to lose money at that point. Your best bet is probably to have some cash on the side. What I do is I have around 25-30% in cash on the side. Depends on whether stocks are undervalued, at fair value, or above value. That way, if the market ends up going down in the short term, you still have money on the side that you can lower your cost average, and in the long term, you will actually make more. And if the market ends up going up, then you have that money that you invested in initially, so it's basically a win-win. Now with step number two, and this sort of goes hand in hand with step number one, it is you have to put in the time and effort into research in individual companies. The reason you want to spend the time to do the research on individual companies is because you can have an exponentially higher rate of return rather than putting your money in an ETF, which is an exchange traded fund, which just follows the standard average 8% that the market goes up per year. However, there is nothing wrong with that. If you don't want to put in the effort into doing this, or you just simply don't have the time, then you can make that average 8% and still make a lot of money. You would just be a little bit more limited on how much you can make. Let's take a look at the numbers and how much difference it actually can make. If we take a look at an investment calculator from calculator.net and put in the starting amount at $20,000 for a span of 30 years with an annual 8% rate of return, and let's say we put in an average of $200 a month, that equates to your end balance after the 30 years being $482,000, with your total interest being $390,000 and your total contributions, including the starting amount that you put in, only being $92,000. Now let's take a look at the same metrics, but instead of putting 8% for an annual return, we'll put a 15% for an annual return. And as you can see, the difference is absolutely insane, with your end balance being over $2.4 million and with your interest being over $2.35 million, and total contributions, including the starting amount that you put in, which this is $20,000, still being only $92,000. Now, just for fun, let's see what happens when you put in a 20% return, which if you can average a 20% return for 30 years, that is a very, very impressive thing to accomplish. A 15% return is very possible. However, when you start pushing into the 20% plus, it starts to get very hard to achieve. And I'm sure you guys don't need me to tell you, but as you can see, it's astonishing how much difference just putting in a little bit of time and effort into researching individual companies can really make. Now, number three is a little bit more of a controversial topic, but it's really going to get into how you can make $200 a day more consistently while still having your money in the market. Now, day trading and swing trading is a pretty controversial topic and can be pretty risky, and my best advice to you would be to try to paper trade first. If you don't know what paper trading is, it's being able to trade fake money in the market with zero risk. Doing this allows you to feel more comfortable when the time comes to put your hard-earned money in. Now, making $200 a day while trading does take up some time during your day, so you're not going to be able to put your money in a random stock and then 5 minutes later exit that stock and get consistent gains. That just has way too much risk. However, there is a way you can accomplish more consistent profits and mitigate a lot of that risk. And the way to do that is to find bigger capital companies that have earnings or good news surrounding them on a given day and just trade the good news. For example, I've been trading in and out of Tesla for the last couple of months because there has just been so much good news and good sentiment surrounding it in the past couple of weeks that it almost feels like free money. And the best part is that anyone can do it, and it requires very little knowledge. You don't need to know the Fibonacci and death cross of the bond yield that inverts at the bull flag's edge. None of that. The only thing you need is to know how to set a stop loss. Now, a stop loss seems to be pretty self-explanatory. It's designed to limit an investor's loss on a particular position. Now, by far the most difficult part is where to set your stop loss. Most bigger cap companies that have good news around them typically trend in an upward direction throughout the day. So if you buy in on a small dip and then set a stop loss for the maximum amount you are willing to lose on that trade, and then let the shares ride, you should be in the clear. The next big question you have to ask yourself is, where do I want to sell? And the answer to that is simple. You don't. I never set a limit sell. Instead, I will force my stop loss to go off by raising my stop loss along with the price or movement of the stock I am currently trading. And the main reason I do this is because I used to set limit sells when I first started trading with this strategy, and I don't even want to think about how many times I thought I got out at a great price and ended up watching the stock soar another 5-10% right after. Now, you have to understand that this is not going to work every time. You will sometimes see the stock you buy fall below your stop loss and you will lose money. Even though this is bound to happen sometimes, you will find out that if executed correctly over the long run, this will play out in your favor. And the reason that is because you're doing what's called momentum trading and you are following the positive trend. This is, in my opinion, one of the easiest and least risk strategies out there. Now, as I stated before, if you are wanting to try this strategy, I highly suggest you try to paper trade it first just to get the hang of it. As with most new strategies that you try to learn, you should not go in blind. You should always have a plan and stick to that plan, because if you try to stray from it and change things here and there, it could get ugly very fast. This strategy alone has helped me average almost $200 a day over the last 6 months simply because it is just so consistent. It also can help you mentally, because if your long-term portfolio is down a lot on a given day, that can be really frustrating at times. However, with this strategy, if you can find a company that is trending up because of good news on that given day, it really helps to mitigate those losses in the overall portfolio. And the last thing I'm going to say is, think about it. In the end, it really comes down to how much you are willing to risk. You can make a lot more than $200 a day by doing this, depending on how much money you have and how much you are actually willing to lose if you were to lose money. So guys, I hope you liked this video on how to make $200 a day on average in the stock market. Please comment and let me know if you want to see more about this strategy. I will be posting videos every other day from now on. Also, don't forget to like the video if you did, and make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell to know when I post a new video. I'll see you guys later.